Comrades, brothers and sisters, welcome to the latest video of Olive X, the most courageous journalistic platform for activists. Today I will talk about one of the most well-known pro-Palestinian activists, Samir, who had a few days ago, on June the 17th, a court against him. He has been accused of using violence and damaging properties and resisting his arrest. Samir is a Palestinian from Jordan. He is homosexual and is also a well-known queer activist. He is for over a month in prison with a bad treatment. And because of all of this, it made him famous, a very likable, respected person within the movement. Samir was first sentenced to 1 month unconditional and 1 month conditional prison time by the politierechter on May the 29th. And his appeal was at 17th June, a few days ago. So that was the when he appealed the decision, and he has good reasons to appeal it. I will explain all of it. Let's where to start. Let's start at his arrestment. He was arrested at May the 13th. The day that we occupied the ABC building of the University of Amsterdam. And Samir is accused of damaging properties like computers, monitors, and few other things. So that day, the occupation ended very fast. It was within a few hours because there was a threat that the riot police would invade it. And on top of that, the police, the Vredeseenheid, they call themselves the Peace Unity, said that if we should end the occupation now, then they wouldn't arrest anyone. But unfortunately, they lied. They manipulated us because Samir was arrested that day, later that day, when a group of activists, among others me also, went to Dam Square and protest there. So he is arrested even though the police said nobody would be arrested. And secondly, he is arrested at a demonstration which was a violation of his right to demonstrate. So it's forbidden to arrest people who are demonstrating. That's a clear violation. First, I want to show you how he is arrested and the violence that took place. 1 second. Yes, we saw his arrest. Unfortunately, the beginning is not the beginning. The first part of his arrest is not on tape, where 4 undercovers approached Samir from the back, and Samir tried to escape. As it is very natural to react like that because you don't know who these men are. They are not in police uniforms, and they are coming from behind. And because he wanted to escape, he is now charged with using violence against police officers. Well, the police officers have used violence against him, as he had a black eye and he even couldn't walk He was in a wheelchair for several days, and the rechtercommissaris, the judge, the first judge after your arrest, who decides whether your time in prison should be prolonged or not, saw that Samir came on a wheelchair. He was also punched in his leg. So while he is the victim of police violence, he is unjustly accused of using violence against police. That's the first one. The first and second criminal act he's being accused of, and the third criminal act he's being accused of is actually the most ridiculous of all. By using violence against two intruders, and that was on the first day of the first encampment occupation of the Routerseiland, which was the kickoff of many more occupation and demonstrations that followed until today, 6 weeks later. Two intruders came to the encampment and throw firework. I will show you that first. Two intruders who throw firework. The intruders planned this action as they came from outside. It was not a spontaneous action who were already there. They came from outside, prepared with fireworks, and they know the place. So they are guilty of using violence. But as it was really the reversed world at the court case of Samir, who the two intruders were represented by a lawyer who claims that these people belong to the disadvantaged group, the disadvantaged party. As they came, there even the police was there, but the police didn't arrest them, and I will show you that video now. Samir is in red. Captures, punches the two guys with a wooden stick, which is actually quite justifiable because it's self-defense. Those two intruders used violence, and the police was there, didn't arrest those two, as one of the persons on the video is saying, why don't you arrest them? Why didn't the police arrest them? Why? So when they didn't, the activists are justified to defend themselves. Who else should do it? With the aim of dispersing them from that place, which also happened like that. We can call this self-defense. Punches the two guys with a wooden stick, which is actually quite justifiable because it's self-defense. Those two intruders used violence, and the police was there, didn't arrest those two, as one of the persons on the video is saying, why don't you arrest them? Why didn't the police arrest them? Why? So when they didn't, the activists are justified to defend themselves. Who else should do it? With the aim of dispersing them from that place, which also happened like that. We can call this self-defense, and in Dutch we say, or in judicial language, we say it's noodweer. Noodweer means self-defense. But the lawyer of Samir has chosen another ground to defend her client. She has used noodweer excess. And noodweer excess means that it is self-defense plus. You defend yourself, and in doing that you went too far. For instance, you punched him 3 times, well, 1 time was enough. But it also says that the person is not guilty because he was in a high emotional state who couldn't control himself. So noodweer excess, basically you're admitting you're wrong, but you deny the guilt part of it. That's what it is. So when the lawyer, her name is Jantje Kramer, from the famous Jebbing lawyer group, Willem Jebbing, said it was noodweer excess. But if it is noodweer excess, then the question is, how do you see that Samir went too far? He gave the two intruders each 1 time a punch with the stick so that they left the place, which they did. So it's perfectly justifiable. They didn't have had any big, they were not wounded. The Telegraaf is lying about that. They are writing that he was heavily wounded. He had a fracture in the skull, but you don't get a fracture in your skull by a punch like this. So they were not wounded or damaged whatsoever. And giving each of them 1 stick, you didn't go too far. What else should he do? So for that reason, it should have been noodweer, self-defense, the right of self-defense. That's what he did. It's truly unbelievable that Jantje Kramer, the lawyer, didn't argue this. They didn't argue this. And the question about the lawyer is, Jebbing, not only this question, but also when the judge asked that if every party agreed and known that this was snelrecht. And snelrecht means fast judgment. It happens really fast. Within a week of your arrest, you're being brought to justice, but at snelrecht, then you cannot allow witnesses or ask for an investigation. So the lawyer said she didn't know it was snelrecht and she had a witness, which the judge said, then we need to reschedule it. What is strange about this is that this fast judgment occurred 4 weeks after the conviction at the politierechter, the first judge. This is an appeal. Usually it occurs after 1 week. I was, for instance, arrested and I was settled for snelrecht a week, not even a week later, about 5 days later, 4 or 5 days later. But this happened 4 weeks after the conviction, which means Samir needed to wait 4 weeks in prison while he was just sentenced for 4 weeks in prison unconditionally. And 1 month conditionally. So if this court in this appeal have had the same conviction, Samir should have been released. But before going into there, how can it be that the lawyer of the client didn't know it was snelrecht? So she should have known it. And as she didn't know, and she had a witness, so it should be rescheduled. And the question then the judge asked, should he be released or not? First, the lawyer of Samir, Jantje Kramer, said, well, the intruders used violence, the police didn't arrest them, and it's nowhere in the criminal file this is written. The address of Samir is well known, so there is no danger that he will escape, and for that reason I ask you to release him until the court case, the new court, which will be set, the date will be set. The prosecutor said he shouldn't be released, he should be stay in jail as there is a chance of recidivism. And then the judge asked lawyer Jantje Kramer if she had anything to say to answer that, and she said no. That's really weird, because she could have said that Samir already has 1 month in jail, which is the same as the conviction, but also he has been he has a bad treatment. They put him in an isolation cell without a clear reason. They denied him visitors, and the man is still wounded. At the court we saw that Sam was walking with a walker. So these are all reasons that he is already punished. And there is a high risk that Samir will stay longer in prison than his conviction is, even though he is not yet convicted by the court in his appeal. So he should be released. But Jantje Kramer didn't say all of this. She didn't mention it. She didn't mention it that he is already 1 month in prison. And usually for these times of crime that Samir committed, it's not a crime anyways, but if you see it as a crime, the punishment is around 30 hours of community service. So what is also strange is that the Jebbing lawyers, they are highly promoted on an aggressive way by a group among the activists who call themselves the Arrestantengroep. They call themselves Arrestantengroep, and almost at every demonstration they scream through the megaphone that should you be arrested, take Willem Jebbing as your lawyer, and this is his number. Jebbing is known as a lawyer of activists. Now, it started on 7 May, all of this. Jebbing has defended a lot of pro-Palestinian activists, and mostly unsuccessful, as pro-Palestinian protesters are punished harsher than any other demonstrators. Other kind of demonstration, for instance, Extension Rebellion, the farmers, you name it. That's a fact. So he didn't give result, and he should answer that. For what reason? He could blame the judge for that by saying the judge is punishing pro-Palestinian harsher than others. That's a fact, and it goes against the law, against het gelijkheidsbeginsel, what we call in Dutch, which says cases in similar situations should be treated in a similar way. So Jebbing can complain about this, but he didn't do it. Then he needs to put the blame on himself, as he is so many times promoted by the Arrestantengroep. They need to answer these questions. This lawyer is without a good result, which we cannot accept. We want better results. Why did they choose for this lawyer? And what are going they to do after this? Another thing that needs to be mentioned is that Samir, who is this is a high-profile case, who is the symbol of how Palestinian activists are treated unfairly, that the movement, the protest movement behind him, should make a big campaign to release Sam or Samir. Until now we have only seen a few story posts, but a bigger campaign demanding his immediately release should have started. For instance, a petition or a protest in front of the prison he is. He is in Leeuwarden, which is far away. Why they put him so far away for a relatively small criminal act? Why did his lawyer not mention that he was already 1 month in prison, the same amount as that the politierechter have said? And by putting him still in jail until the appeal, he risks of having a more harsher sentence than the conviction. That's not fair. It shouldn't be like that. She didn't mention all of this. So that's why I screamed at the court when the judge said that the prosecutor had a point. I knew the ruling would be bad for Samir, so I screamed. I said, how can you do this? He's already 1 month in jail. And as soon as I did that, the police didn't need to interfere because the other activists were interfering me. They said, we agreed that we would do a silent demonstration. Why did you disturb it? This is not good for us. I said, I disagree. When you do a silent demonstration, that is what the system wants. The judge also said that. And also the lawyer of Samir said, be silent. Yes, of course they will say that. Nobody will say make noise. But you need to give them a pain in the ass. You need to show them our anger that this is unfair. The system against Samir is unfair. The ruling is unfair. It goes against the law. Samir lives only 1 year in the Netherlands. He is an asylum seeker from Jordan, Palestinian originally. He is homosexual. And I can imagine he had a really tough life in Jordan, as he is born as a refugee. And despite all of that, Samir has said, what I have endured in the prison is worse than anything what happened in my life. So you can imagine what kind of big traumatic experience this is. And by doing a silent demonstration, you allow the court, you allow the system to continue what they are doing with their unfair treatments. But by screaming or showing your anger, you show you don't accept this. So they will respect you far more. They have to respect you. They have to respect us. The prosecutor also. The prosecutor's demand for the punishment is far harsher than demands on other cases, non-pro-Palestinian cases. As I said, only 30 hours of community work. Why did she demand such a high sentence? Why did the court go along with it? Why did his lawyer not go against it? Why? Why don't they do a campaign for Samir? He's abandoned by everybody. Abandoned and left alone. An asylum seeker who can't speak Dutch. He has been denied access to the medical care as he can't walk properly. He has denied visitors. They put him in an isolation cell. And I need to be silenced? No, I won't silence. I won't silence. Nobody can force me to be silenced. I won't abide the rules that I do not agree with. I don't believe that's effective. What is the reason that Samir is still in jail? Can anybody tell me that? For this crime? For 30 hours of community work, he's that long in prison, and we should accept that? No way. Who was the one? Which the activist who wanted a silent demonstration at the court needs to explain why a silent demonstration? Why? Why not screaming? Why not a protest with megaphones in front of the court, which is our legal right to do? Why didn't they want that? Why did they give Samir this bad lawyer who couldn't do anything to us? The lawyer even don't complain to our unfair treatment. He didn't mention one time in public saying that pro-Palestinian demonstrators are punished harsher. She didn't mention it one time in public. And then they blame me when I'm screaming, saying this makes it more difficult for Samir. No, it doesn't make it more difficult for Samir. If you go against the system, no, then they will respect you. What it makes it more difficult for Samir is your passiveness. It's your lack of action. The lack to show your anger. The lack to show that you're a true activist. The two traders showed fireworks, the police didn't arrest them, and they are now shown as the disadvantaged party. No, I won't be silenced about that. I won't be silenced about that. I will scream until they leave, until Samir is released from prison. And you should also, we should all together do that. That makes us strong, unity, showing courageousness.
Palestinians is that they have essentially no international support for a good reason. They don't have wealth, they don't have power, so they don't have rights. See the world works. Your rights correspond to your power and your wealth. Same inside the United States. You can just try to see it. If you're a poor black kid in Roxbury, you don't have the rights of a rich person living in the suburbs. Same in the international arena. So the Palestinians, I mean, they made it, statements of support, but nobody's going to do much for them, especially when the U.S. threatens anyone who might try to do something. What's called the national interest turns out to be the interest of dominant domestic forces in U.S. society. So the national interest means the interests of the very rich, major corporations, the ones that set government policy and so on. That's the national interest. But not the population. The population is basically irrelevant. The population often strongly opposes government policy, and they're simply disregarded. Overwhelmingly, people say there should be much higher taxes on the wealthy. What happened? Taxes on the wealthy go down. And it's the same on issue after issue. So we do not live in a society in which the public determines policy. The public's around, but basically disregarded unless they force themselves into the system by serious activism.
Yes.
Palestinians is that they have essentially no international support for a good reason.
Yes, that was... Yes, so... Real activism, he's talking about that. That's a good one. I always forget to say it, but please like, subscribe or comment. That will help me as I am putting much time and energy into it. So your help will be appreciated. Like and subscribe. I see you at my next video, which is about my case, my errors, which I will tell you more about that. For now, this is it. Do your work for Samir. We all need to do it together. Samir needs to be released, and he needs to be released now. Thank you for watching, and see you the next time.